HBCU elitism. All of us have experienced it at one time. Some of us may be perpetrators of it. In fact, most of us have been, if we're honest with ourselves. What is it? What are the tiers? And how does it impact how we communicate with and relate to each other? That's what we're going to talk about in this video. All right, guys, my name is Stephen J. Gaither, and I am a journalist, entrepreneur, a content creator that is the founder of HBCU Game Day and also WSSU Ram Nation. And I'm going to talk to you guys about a subject that I had no idea existed when I got into the HBCU world. Oh man, over 2 decades ago. But in being a student at Winston-Salem State University and also starting HBCU Game Day, which covers sports at historically black colleges and universities, I have come very up close and personal with HBCU elitism, and I've seen the ways that it impacts our community, which is a community within a community. You know, you've got the greater black community, but then you've got the HBCU community, which is its own animal to itself. And a lot of us have come in uninitiated, and there's this entire invisible caste system, for better lack of term, and it catches you off guard. And then one day you find yourself being a part of it, whether that's the stereotypes about folks who are maybe above your school or below your school or on the school's level, and all the things like that. So what we're going to do today is we're just going to have a good discussion about some criteria and some tiers of it. I'm going to give you my take on it, and you guys let me know in the comments if you agree, disagree, what do you think about my tiers, and exactly if there should be more tiers, if there's tiers that I missed, if I have misquantified schools, let me know in the comments. I'm ready for it all. So before we get started, I think that it is important to have a working definition that underlines the structure of the tiers that I've created of HBCU elitism. Let's go ahead. I will pull that up. If you haven't already, please go ahead and hit like on the video. Just help it out, help the channel out. I appreciate you so much. All right, so the definition of HBCU elitism that I have crafted goes something like this. It is long, but I'm going to put it up for you. HBCU elitism refers to the cultural hierarchy and social perception that exists within the historical black colleges and universities community, where certain schools have been seen as more prestigious, influential, or desirable based on factors like legacy, selectivity, alumni prominence, cultural visibility, and institutional wealth, as well as location and athletic affiliation. Now, it often mirrors traditional academic elitism, but with a unique blend of black excellence, inter-school rivalry, and cultural pride. This unspoken ranking it often mirrors traditional academic elitism, but with a unique blend of black excellence, inter-school rivalry, and cultural pride. This unspoken ranking system shapes how people talk about, compare, and represent HBCUs in everything from media and social circles to graduate school applications and family traditions. All right, so that is my definition of HBCU elitism. And now we'll go ahead and reveal the tiers. Now, for the first couple tiers, I am going to give explicit examples that how I've quantified them. But as we get we get down the rung, I will not name necessarily every school, and you can let me know which schools you think fit that I may not have mentioned. But let's go ahead and get started. So tier number 1 on the HBCU elitism tiers, that is none other than the big name privates. Dun dun dun.
My name is my name.
So the big name privates are HBCUs that are private that have prestigious names. These are names that if you ran up to somebody with $1,000 and told them, name me 4 HBCUs, they might name all 4 of these HBCUs, but they're going to definitely probably name at least 1 or 2 of them. And then without any further ado, we'll get into it. We will start off in Atlanta, where we have a pair of universities. First off, we have Spelman College, and then we have Morehouse College. Again, for those who don't know, these are schools that are single gender serving. So Morehouse College is a traditional male school, and Spelman College is a school for women. So these schools are literally connected at the hip, and often right up here at the top when you talk about academics, which is going to be a theme throughout these academics, location, access, and just name recognition. All of these schools that are in this tier, and as well as the next tier, are probably going to be ones that if you are in tiers that are listed below are going to say, oh, well, these are the schools that they always talk about and they always get the money. These are those schools. So we've got those two universities. And then if we go north just a little bit, we're going to go up to Washington, D.C. And you guessed it, Howard University. Did you really think they weren't going to be on this list? So Howard University up there as well. Of course, they are federally funded in Washington, D.C. So there's a bevy of political connections that are there. They have a long, strong history, very academically astute. They're coming around in athletics, but, definitely they are right up there at the forefront. And then if we travel just further down south, just a little bit, we'll go to Hampton University in Hampton, Virginia, formerly Hampton Institute. And if you are a member of Howard University, you may still refer to them as the Institute, as they love to go back and forth. They got a football battle, sports battle called the Real HU. Hampton kind of dominates the football thing, the basketball too, but they like to go at it back and forth. If you're for the uninitiated, this is traditionally the our kind of people school. And you do a little research, you'll figure that out. But those are the four that I have put in that tier. Now, there is a fifth university that kind of sort of meets this criteria and could easily be up there. But, and again, this goes to the nuances of the HBCU elitism scale. I'm kind of on the fence about. You guys let me know. And that HBCU is Tuskegee University in Tuskegee, Alabama. So I have it in the second tier as the leader of the second tier. And I know I'm probably going to get some hate behind that, but I do for a couple of reasons. Primarily location. Primarily location. Just, being in rural Alabama. I have it just in a kind of holds it back. But we'll talk about it. You guys let me know. But so those are my four that are heavily in there. Again, not Clark Atlanta. They're going to be here, but they're not up here. Morehouse College, Spelman College, Howard University, and Hampton University. All right, so then from the big name privates, we go to the large publics. Now, the large publics, what do these schools have in common? The large publics, primarily land grant schools, part of the Morrill Act, but not all of them are land grant schools, and we'll get to that as well. But all of them athletically are in Division I. They primarily have large bands, but they all have ancillary schools. They have ancillary schools that really stand out, a lot of them in engineering. So without any further ado, let's get to the list. All right, so we have Florida A&M University. Florida A&M University is located in Tallahassee, Florida. It is the only public HBCU in the state of Florida. As such, it has always been one of the bigger HBCUs. It has drawn students from all over the state of Florida, but also around the country. It has a strictly amazing history athletically, primarily in football, but in other sports as well. Division 1, again, this is kind of some things that you'll see. It also has a world-renowned marching band, the Marching 100, and again, another trait that you'll see across these, that it has a large alumni base and a large homecoming. So you got Florida A&M, often ranked as one of, if not the top public HBCUs. Now, another school that it often shares this distinction with, or fights for it with, is none other than North Carolina A&T State University. So, again, this is another land grant college, founded in 1891 in East Greensboro. They're not in just Greensboro, they're in East Greensboro. Um, they are currently the largest HBCU in the country, and have been for quite a while, and they never let you forget it. They are not only the largest HBCU in the country, but also, of course, being the largest HBCU in the country, they're also the largest HBCU in North Carolina, which the state of North Carolina has 5 public HBCUs and just as many private HBCUs as well. So that also earns it its own distinction. They have great academics, engineering school, and so many other things going on as well. A lot of buildings going around there as well. They've had some athletic success in football recently, in recent years. Well, not really recently, but before that. They have Olympic success. They also have been named the ESPN band. They were a winner of the ESPN Band of the Year, the inaugural winner, and the second winner at the Division 1 level was Florida A&M. So you're seeing a theme here: large schools with engineering, agricultural. You keep seeing those names come up. So those are the type of schools you're going to see on this list. Jackson State University is not a land grant university, but another HBCU that is the largest HBCU in Mississippi. It's in the state capital. It has great academics, but also a great history athletically in football, basketball, and also has a marvelous marching band as well. Similar type of thing. Large homecoming, the largest stadium for an HBCU. They're big. They're big time. They have a lot of alumni. They're very vocal, very much supportive of Jackson State University. So we've got them as well. And as we continue, we will go to a couple more. I'll name a couple more of these. So we also have, in that tier of large publics, we also have Tennessee State University. Now, Tennessee State University has seen its share of troubles recently, but it is the only public HBCU in the state of Tennessee. They have a rich history athletically. They were the first college basketball team to win 3 national titles back to back to back. In basketball, they have a great football history. They kind of stick out a little bit because they've been in a non-HBCU conference for the majority of their athletic history, which can be its own thing, but Tennessee State University as well. Then we've got Morgan State University. Morgan State University is also not a land grant university, but it is the largest HBCU in Maryland, and it is one of the largest HBCUs in the country at this point. Storied history in football. Marching band, we'll keep it real. They got the weakest marching band in here for right now. But they are going to be doing some things over in California, I believe, or Paris. They got a lot going on. So Morgan State University. And then rounding off the list, the last definite on the list, I have Southern University. So Southern University, it's its own system.
When I tell you he's got his own money, I mean the boy has got his own money.
I mean, it's got its own system, right? So located in Baton Rouge, stellar academics. It's got a law school, so many things. It also has athletics, yeah, great history in athletics, particularly football and basketball. Um, of course, the human jukebox, world famous. Everybody knows that. And so, yeah, Southern University, another homecoming staple favorite. People come from all over. So those are some of the things that tie these things together. I will say that there was a couple of HBCUs that I had close to this list, but didn't quite make it. Um, and I'll just give those to you. You let me know what you think. I had Prairie View A&M as close to the large publics. Um, they haven't had that level of athletic success um, in football, particularly. Stellar academics though, very stellar academics. Um, Marching band is solid. Really good marching band. But I don't know. Say everything is bigger in Texas. I don't know if I quantify them in the same tier as those. But you guys let me know in the comments. I can be swayed potentially on some of these. Yeah. So now it gets interesting. And again, I appreciate you if you are listening to this. This is the HBCU Elitism tiers scale. And so you guys let me know what you think so far, what your thoughts are. Who are you surprised that we haven't heard? Who do you think might be a little bit too high? I'm really interested to hear from you guys. All right, so then it gets interesting because now we get to my mid-tier privates and the mid-tier publics, and this list honestly could be flip-flopped if you're talking about athletics. It could be flip-flopped if you're talking about athletics, but we're trying to kind of get a balance here, right? So we're gonna keep with, as far as elitism goes, privates generally get preference over publics. So let's go with number 3. We have the mid-tier privates. So I have a couple schools here. I have Xavier University of Louisiana. They have a medical school over in New Orleans. You got Dillard University, also in New Orleans. You have Fisk University in Tennessee. You have Shaw University in North Carolina. It has claimed for many years to be the first HBCU in the South. Recently, we have seen friends over in Atlanta say, no. Atlanta University was founded a couple months prior. So pretty interesting there. I'm not going to get into that there, but that's one of the conversations that we've had. Yeah. And then speaking of Atlanta University, we also would put Clark Atlanta in here as well. So again, we talked about Morehouse and Spelman. Clark Atlanta is in the same vicinity there as well. The thing with Clark Atlanta is a pretty new endeavor, right? So you have in the 80s, you had Clark College and Atlanta University come together and create Clark Atlanta. So it is in the AUC, really great location, really great school. They produce a lot of really great graduates. But in terms of private schools, it's probably it's not quite on the elitism level of a Morehouse or a Spelman. And then we have again Tuskegee University, formerly Tuskegee Institute, which was at one point led by Booker T. Washington, although not founded by him. They claim to be the oldest HBCU marching band. They claim that. They do have the most wins in HBCU football, so shout out to them for that. And again, they were close to being in that top tier. But I don't know. You guys let me know. Maybe that's my elitism coming in there. But I had them in that mid tier, just because I think a lot of times, and again, let's have this discussion on this list. A lot of times, the elitism is location based, right? So if you're in a larger city, there's a credibility that comes with that in a smaller city does a smaller town doesn't come with. There's also the conversation about bias for East Coast or East Coast bias on HBCUs versus the HBCUs that are further south and west. So there's that. Um, but yeah, so those are my mid tier privates. All right, and then it gets interesting again because then we go to mid tier publics. Now these mid tier publics are almost all in Division One. One is not. These are also land grant schools. A lot of them, not all of them, but yeah, let's get to it. A lot of them are former normal schools that have grown to be a sizable schools. Um, we've got South Carolina State University. South Carolina State University is a land grant college. It is the only public HBCU in the state of South Carolina. And it is it's a land grant. They're they have a really great, obviously they have a really historically great football program. The reigning MEAC champions. They got a lot going for themselves. Marching 101 has got a pretty good sound for sure. Fun place to go have a football game. Their enrollment and just some issues within the state have maybe kept it from being maybe in that higher tier of the big publics. But yeah, so right there on the cusp. Also right there on the cusp, we have Norfolk State University. Norfolk State University is not a land grant. It came along. It actually started off as an outgrowth of Virginia Union, and then it was a part of the Norfolk division of Virginia State University. So it actually has roots in two schools that are very much located to it, and eventually it went and became its own unit of its own university, Norfolk State College, and now Norfolk State University. So they are there as well. We've got Alabama A&M University and Alabama State University. I have both of these, and maybe some people would say that they would put one or both of these in that other tier. I don't know. I think, I don't know. Maybe my experiences with them, they don't come off as very elitist. And again, all of this is just really based off of history. It's based off of some of it is based off of the interactions that you have with people online on social media, just observances and how they refer to each other's. This is my list. Again, you guys feel free to give your list as well, but I felt like it was worth quantifying. So we've got Alabama A&M and Alabama State. And then we have North Carolina Central University. North Carolina Central, also not a land grant university, located in Durham, North Carolina. It is like North Carolina A&T. It has a common ancestor with its rival in North Carolina A&T, but it was founded in 1910. A really great academic school. They have a law school as well, and athletically, they were in Division II for a long time. They won the NCAA Division II national title in 1989, and then eventually came back to the MEAC and Division I status athletically. Band is the band has a couple nice tunes. The band's probably holding it back a little bit. All right, so let's see. And then we will finish up with Virginia State University. Now, Virginia State University is the only university that's not in Division I athletically. However, it is a land grant institution. It is it's a land grant institution. They are, produce a lot of really great graduates, and yeah, that land grant status kind of makes it stand out. It is now an R2 university. I would also put Grambling State in this category as well. They could have gone in the next category, but I put them in this category as well due to they're younger, they're not a land grant, but they do have an amazing athletic history, marching band, and because of that, their marching band is called the World Fame. So they are well known. They're also very visible as part of the Bayou Classic. So a lot of things going in Grambling's favor athletically. Band is solid. It's tough to be in the same backyard as Southern, though. We can't lie. So there we have it. Those are my mid tier publics. Now it gets interesting because now we get into regional publics, and these are schools that these schools are in here. These are at this level, which is level 5, because of a couple of things. Well, let's see. They are primarily several of them started off as teachers' colleges. Including my alma mater, Winston-Salem State University. Several of them started off as teachers' colleges or normal schools. Location is going to be a big factor in schools being regional publics. Not always in the biggest cities or location for some of them. So location is going to be there. Enrollment numbers. And yeah, so we have a mix of schools that are in Division 1 and Division 2 athletically. So let's just go down my list. So I have Alcorn State University, which is a land grant institution. It is in Lorman, Mississippi. So it is, again, a land grant school. They have a really great athletic success, specifically in football. They've had some great basketball teams as well. Yeah, but in the state of Mississippi, it's Jackson State, and then it's probably Alcorn State. In terms of that, location has a lot to do with that. Then you got the West. We're gonna add Texas Southern as another regional public. Again, it is in a great location. In Houston, you could argue maybe that for this to be a mid-tier public, I wouldn't be adverse to that, but because of the location. Then you've got Arkansas Pine Bluff, another school in the SWAC, Division 1. They've had some intermittent athletic success, but their enrollment is pretty small, smaller than several of the schools in Division 2 and in the CIAA, SIAC. So they're a little bit out there. Also, Mississippi Valley State in a similar situation. Another state HBCU, known for Jerry Rice, but they have a small student population. A lot of that is due to location, but I would consider them regional as well. All right, so then we get over to Georgia, who also has several of these universities. You've got Savannah State University, you've got Fort Valley State University, and you've got Albany State University. These are all state HBCUs in the state of Georgia. All of these schools very, very well. They do very well. They're all in Division 2. And I think location probably puts them where they are. Location, athletic affiliation, really solid schools for sure. And then we'll go up to my home state of North Carolina. So again, I told you 5 public HBCUs in North Carolina. We've already talked about North Carolina A&T. We've already talked about North Carolina Central. Let's go Elizabeth City State University, a small school in a very remote part of the state, northeast corner of the state. And a lot of times it gets overlooked because of that. It's actually near the border to Virginia. A lot of folks, including my family, have moved away from that area, and a lot of folks that stay there, their children choose to go to college other places. So Elizabeth City State, it has had some enrollment struggles and issues, although under uh, Chancellor Chancellor Dr. Carrie Dixon, it did see some growth there. She's now at North Carolina Central. Fayetteville State University. Fayetteville State is another regional public. I classified it as that, like Elizabeth City State. It was a teachers' college, but it is the oldest state HBCU of the HBCUs in North Carolina, and it's growing rapidly. Due to its location in Fayetteville, I'm not a fan of Fayetteville. I'm just gonna be real. I'm not a fan of the city, but the military is located there, and so it gets a lot of transplants from the military, or folks going to school there. A big online school, so they're regional public. I don't know. I could see I could see a world where they go into mid tier public, potentially athletically as well. We shall see. And then, of course, there's my alma mater, Winston-Salem State University. Winston-Salem State University, like Elizabeth City State, like Fayetteville State. Well, it actually started off as a normal school, but then it transformed into a teacher's college. And, very proud athletic history. We were the first degree granted. We were the first HBCUs to grant degrees for elementary education. And so very proud past there, but it's always been a little bit smaller, of course, than North Carolina A&T and North Carolina Central. And I think that the thing I loved about it, the Winston-Salem State, I feel like we're actually probably like dead in the middle. Like a lot of people know who we are, especially regionally, more so nationally now that we've got, some alumni, a lot of alumni doing a lot of great things. But still, if I'm honest, we're probably here in this regional Publix. It'd be great if we get to that mid tier and then go from there. But this is where we are right now, and I'm honest about it. And I love having gone to that university because it gave me a chance to really see the entire scope and landscape of HBCUs and kind of where folks fit in on this hierarchy. So shout out to WSSU always and forever. All right. And then, so if we go up north, we've already had our two public HBCUs in Virginia. They were in the previous tier. Then we go to Maryland. Maryland is interesting. Maryland, you have Coppin State University. You have Maryland Eastern Shore. Maryland Eastern Shore. Coppin State is small because it's historically a commuter school. Similar thing with Bowie State, even though, it's growing there. And then you have Maryland Eastern Shore, which is in Division I with Coppin State, but its location keeps it regional. So, yep. And then we finish out with Delaware State University. Delaware State is one I'm kind of in the middle on. I feel like Delaware State University could be a mid-tier public. It could be a regional public, or it could be one of the. One day, it could be a spot on this list that I haven't even gotten to yet. But look, guys, if you're still watching the video at this point, shout out to you, no matter how much or how bad you think my picks are. If you still got this far, I really appreciate you. So please go ahead and hit that like button and consider hitting subscribe. And if you guys like this, maybe I'll do more content like this on this channel. So let me know. All right. So those are our regional publics. So now it gets interesting again. So now my next category is probably gonna be a little controversial. It's church schools. Church schools. So church schools are public. These are private universities that were founded by, have religious foundings. And they have religious foundings. And for the most part, they're still pretty small. Some of these are really growing and rising and maybe pushing for that mid-tier. And so I have Allen University, which is an AME school over in Columbia. You also have schools like Benedict. You also have Edward Waters University, which is on the rise. We've done a lot of content with them. Shout out to our guy Vaughn. You've got Philander Smith. You've got Livingstone College of the AME Zion Church. And you've also got Virginia Union University. Virginia Union, you could probably put them into a mid-tier private just because, well, for a couple of things. Their location in Richmond, as how long they've been around. They've been around for quite a while, and then also they've had a lot of national success in athletics, and basketball and football as well. So I haven't qualified as a church school. Again, these schools don't necessarily have the name recognition of that top tier, and the middle tier, kind of what separates them as well. But these are schools that are founded with churches, and generally, these schools generally tend to be smaller. So yeah, their voices in the HBCU community are often, it's just not many of them, right? There's just not a lot of them. And so we've got those. And then the last the last tier is going to be pretty interesting, but let me know what you think, is PWI, but still technically HBCUs. So you have West Virginia State University in West Virginia. It is an HBCU, technically, but it's a PWI. Same for Bluefield State University, which is in Bluefield, West Virginia. Not to be confused with Bluefield College, because that's a whole different school. Even though it's 10 minutes away, one's in West Virginia, one's Virginia. There's a lot. It's just a lot there. But anyway, Bluefield State, which has reasserted itself into the CIAA, and did pretty well basketball. So their coach got scooped up by Fayetteville State. So those two are technically HBCUs, but they're predominantly white. One to look out for, and these are kind of on the cusp of them, and kind of how they're viewed culturally. Lincoln University in Missouri. I don't have the numbers there. It is an HBCU, but it's kind of out there. And it's not in a HBCU conference athletically, so there's that. But then also Delaware State. Delaware State is an HBCU for sure, but it's let me pull up here. Let me see Delaware State demographics. Okay, so all right, so I looked up the numbers. 71% are African American, 9.28 are white, and 8.3 are Hispanic. So yeah, that would actually lead me to some other ones. So again, when you talk about, and that just goes to show you, when you talk about HBCU elitism, there are a lot of things that come into play. Some things are quantifiable. Some things are just perception, and perception can be reality. And it can be a lot. I think for HBCUs in this 21st century, I think it's great for us to acknowledge that we do have our differences, and those differences are what makes the HBCU world great, which makes individual HBCUs great, is because not all black people are a monolith. We are different in so many ways. I would like to see people be more cognizant of their level of elitism. And, when we get into athletics, a lot of times all the gloves come off. But unfortunately, I do feel like that elitism can be divisive within our world. And I think we should all be aware of it, kind of understand where our university fits, where we fit in it all, and how we can work together as much as possible. Of course, it's never going to be a kumbaya and all of those things, but I think it's definitely It can get toxic. Again, you talk about athletics, people get into this MEAC versus SWAC. To me, honestly, that's sometimes one of the most toxic topics in HBCU. That's just my take on it. And again, I think going to school, the school that I went to, WSSU, when I did, which was during our attempt at Division 1, has kind of given me a pretty unique perspective on all of this. And then, doing the work of HBCU game day. So this was really fun, a fun list to put together. To be honest with you, I spent a little bit of time on it, quite a little bit of time on it. So let me know what you guys think about it. Shoot me your own list, some categories that I missed, a school that you think might have been miscategorized. Again, I did not put every school in here, especially all the privates. It's just it's a lot, but I did want to kind of touch on this for people who may be uninitiated or to spark some discussion. So again, let me know what you guys thought about my list, and I can't wait to hear yours as well. Please subscribe to the channel and let me know that you want more content like this, and I will definitely keep it coming. All right, guys, I will catch you in the next video. Peace.